The day my husband left me, the hospital room was too quiet. Not peaceful. Not calm. Just empty. The machine beside my bed kept making soft beeping sounds, like it was reminding me that I was still alive, even though everything inside me felt frozen. I remember staring at the ceiling, tracing tiny cracks with my eyes, trying to keep my thoughts from spinning out of control. He stood near the door. Jacket on. Keys in his hand. "I can't do this anymore," he said. His voice wasn't angry. It wasn't emotional. It was flat, like he was reading something off a list he'd already rehearsed. I turned my head slowly and looked at him. My husband. The man who once promised he would never leave my side. The man who used to say we were a team, no matter what. "I need space," he added. "This whole cancer thing, it's too much. Too much." Those two words hit harder than the diagnosis ever did. I didn't cry. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask him to stay. I just looked at him and stayed silent. And that silence made him uncomfortable. Before cancer entered my life, everything felt normal. Ordinary. Safe. Daniel and I had been married for 9 years. We met when we were young, when love felt simple and the future felt far away enough to ignore. He was calm, steady, dependable, or at least that's what I believed. We had routines. Shared jokes. Lazy Sundays. Conversations about plans we never rushed to make real. Life wasn't perfect, but it felt stable. And stability can make you blind. Looking back, I can see the warning signs. How he avoided emotional conversations. How he pulled away when things got hard. How he needed life to stay easy to feel comfortable. But when you love someone, you explain those things away. Then came the diagnosis. Cancer. The doctor said the word gently, like saying it too loudly might break me. My ears rang. My hands went cold. Everything after that felt distant, like I was underwater. When I told Daniel, he hugged me, stiff and unsure. "We'll get through this," he said. But his voice didn't sound convinced. The treatment started quickly. Hospital rooms. Long waits. The smell of disinfectant. Faces full of quiet fear. At first, he came with me. He sat beside me during treatments. Held my bag. Asked the nurses questions. Then slowly, he stopped. "I have work. They understand. I'll come next time." Next time stopped coming. I lost my hair. He didn't comment. Just looked away. I lost weight. He said, "You don't look like yourself anymore." The house grew quiet. Conversations became short and empty. How was treatment? Fine. That was it. One night, I asked him, barely above a whisper, "Are you still here with me?" He didn't answer right away. That pause told me everything. The moment I truly realized I was alone came on a rainy Thursday. I had finished a long treatment session and felt too weak to stand. I called him to pick me up. No answer. I waited for hours. Finally, I took a cab home. When I walked in, he was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone, headphones on. "I called you," I said quietly. "My phone was on silent," he replied, annoyed. No apology. Something inside me shut down that day. A week later, he sat me down like it was a business discussion. "I don't think I can be the husband you need right now," he said. "This situation is draining." Draining. "I didn't sign up for this," he added. And then he stood up, grabbed his jacket, and walked toward the door. "I hope you understand," he said. That's when I finally spoke. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I said calmly, "I will remember this." He stopped walking. "Remember what?" he asked, trying to laugh it off. "Who you chose to be," I replied. And then he left. The house felt larger without him. That night, I slept on my side of the bed and didn't move. Some part of me already knew he wasn't coming back. The next morning, I woke up with clarity instead of panic. If he could leave me at my weakest, then he was never truly standing with me to begin with. People reacted differently when they found out. Some showed up. Some disappeared. Cancer teaches you how uncomfortable people are with pain. Daniel's family went silent. No calls. No messages. At first, that hurt. Then it stopped mattering. Weeks later, I heard he was doing well. New place. New routine. New woman. I saw a photo online. He was smiling. Relaxed. Free. For a moment, something dark rose in me. Then it settled into resolve. There was a night I almost gave up. I sat on the bathroom floor, staring at my reflection, barely recognizing myself. I whispered, "Why wasn't I enough?" And then I realized something. He didn't leave because I wasn't enough. He left because he wasn't strong enough. That truth changed everything. From that moment on, I stopped focusing on him. I focused on surviving. On healing. On showing up for myself. I grew stronger quietly. And that silence gave me time. Time to notice things he thought I'd never see. Time to understand truths he thought I'd never uncover. As the weeks passed, my body grew tired, but my mind became clearer. I started noticing things I had ignored before. Letters arriving in the mail with Daniel's name still printed on them. Notices that didn't look like ordinary bills. Envelopes he must have known were coming, but chose not to deal with. At first, I stacked them neatly on the counter, telling myself I'd forward them to him. But something in me hesitated. Not suspicion. Awareness. One afternoon, I opened one. Then another. And then everything made sense. There were overdue payments. Shared accounts I didn't know were behind. Financial responsibilities he had quietly abandoned, just like he abandoned me. Things he assumed I was too sick, too weak, too distracted to notice. I didn't panic. I didn't confront him. I sat down at the kitchen table and took a slow breath. This wasn't anger. This was information. And information is power. Around that same time, I heard more about his new life. How quickly he had moved on. How he told people the marriage had been too much emotionally. How he painted himself as someone who tried but couldn't cope. I let him. I didn't correct anyone. Because people eventually notice what doesn't add up. There was a night when I almost replied to his messages. He had sent a short one weeks after leaving. Just a simple, "Hope you're okay." No apology. No responsibility. Just a message designed to ease his conscience. I stared at my phone for a long time. Then I put it down. Silence was still doing its job. While he was busy escaping discomfort, I was rebuilding quietly. I showed up for my treatments. I followed my doctor's instructions. I learned how to listen to my body instead of fighting it. I started therapy, not to talk about him, but to understand why I had tolerated less than I deserved for so long. I wrote in a journal at night when sleep wouldn't come. I wrote things I never said out loud. Not for revenge. For release. And slowly, something shifted. My strength didn't come back all at once. It returned in pieces. In small decisions. In boundaries I never used to set. In the calm way I handled things that once would have broken me. 3 months after Daniel left, my phone buzzed. His name appeared on the screen. "Hey. Hope you're doing okay." I read it once. Then again. I didn't feel my heart race. I didn't feel nervous. I felt distant. An hour later, another message came in. "I've been thinking about you. Still nothing real. Then, we should talk." That one made me smile. Not because I missed him, but because I knew exactly why he wanted to talk. I waited 2 days before replying. We can talk. Next week. No emotion. No warmth. No questions. He replied immediately. Thank you. We met at a cafe near the hospital. Neutral. Public. Safe. When I walked in, he stood up too quickly, like he wasn't sure what to do with his body around me anymore. You look better, he said. I feel stronger, I replied. He started talking right away. About work. Stress. Confusion. How everything had been overwhelming. He avoided the word cancer completely, like saying it out loud might expose something he wasn't ready to face. I let him talk. People reveal a lot when you don't interrupt them. Finally, he said, I didn't handle things well. Not I'm sorry. Just an observation. I was overwhelmed, he added. I needed space to think. I looked at him calmly. And did you? He didn't answer. I leaned forward slightly. Did you ever ask how I was doing? He blinked. I assumed. No, I said gently. Did you ask? He shook his head. That silence between us felt heavy. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse him. I was fighting for my life, I said quietly. And you were fighting discomfort. His jaw tightened. That's when I slid the envelope across the table. Mail that kept coming to my house, I said. He opened it, and the color drained from his face. I was going to handle that, he said quickly. When? I asked. He looked down. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. This isn't fair, he said, his voice sharper now. I didn't expect things to turn into this. I tilted my head slightly. Into responsibility? He didn't answer. I looked at him and said the sentence that changed the way he saw me forever. I protected you when I was sick. Now I'm protecting myself while I'm healing. He had nothing to say. We didn't stay long after that. There was nothing left to discuss. As I walked out, I felt lighter than I had in months. A week later, things began unraveling for him. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just steadily. Financial responsibilities followed him to his new address. Questions started appearing in his new relationship. The version of the story he told others began falling apart under simple scrutiny. Late one night, my phone rang. It was Daniel. I didn't know it would be like this, he said, his voice unsteady. I know, I replied. You could help me, he said. I closed my eyes. I already did, I said. 4 years. After that, the calls stopped. Months passed. My treatments ended. My strength returned slowly. My hair started growing back, different but real. One day, I realized I hadn't thought about him at all. Not with anger. Not with sadness. Just, not at all. That was the moment I understood what real freedom felt like. I never wanted loud revenge. I didn't want destruction. I wanted truth. And truth doesn't rush. It waits patiently until it's unavoidable. If there's one thing cancer taught me, it's this: love is not proven in comfort. It's proven in inconvenience. Anyone can stay when life is easy. Character shows when staying costs something. I didn't win because he lost. I won because I stopped losing myself trying to keep someone who had already chosen to leave. And that calm reply I gave him that day in the hospital? I will remember this. I did. Not with bitterness. With wisdom. And remembering saved me. After that night, Daniel disappeared from my life almost completely. Not in a dramatic way. No final fight. No long goodbye. Just distance. Quiet. The kind that settles in slowly and then becomes permanent. I heard about him sometimes. Through people who didn't mean to gossip, but did anyway. How his job became unstable. How stress followed him everywhere. How he seemed distracted, tired, always worried about something he couldn't explain. I didn't feel satisfied hearing those things. I felt detached. Because by then, my life had shifted in a direction that no longer included him at all. Recovery is strange. People think it's a straight line. That one day you're weak, and the next day you're strong again. But it's not like that. It comes in waves. Some days you feel powerful. Other days you feel fragile for no clear reason. But even on the fragile days, I noticed something new. I wasn't afraid anymore. Not of being alone. Not of being abandoned. Not of losing someone who didn't choose me. That fear had burned itself out. One afternoon, I ran into someone who knew both of us. They hesitated before speaking, like they weren't sure what was safe to say. I heard everything, they said carefully. I didn't realize he left when you were still in treatment. I nodded. Most people didn't. They shook their heads slowly. I don't know how he lives with that. I didn't answer. Because the truth was, I no longer cared how he lived with it. I had lived through it. There was a moment, months later, when I found an old photo of us. A happy one. Smiling. Arms around each other. From a time when I truly believed we were solid. I held it for a few seconds. And then I put it away. Not angrily. Not sadly. Just gently. Some things don't need to be destroyed to be released. The biggest change in me wasn't physical. It was internal. I stopped over-explaining. I stopped justifying my needs. I stopped shrinking myself to make others comfortable. Cancer took away my patience for pretending. I learned that loyalty during comfort is easy. Loyalty during crisis is rare. And the people who leave when you're at your weakest don't deserve access to the version of you that survives. I never sent Daniel another message. I never checked his social media again. I never asked anyone for updates. My silence wasn't punishment. It was peace. There was one last time he reached out. A short message, months later. Do you think we could ever talk, like before? I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied with the truth. We already did. You just didn't listen. That was it. No response after that. And I didn't need one. Today, my life isn't perfect. But it's honest. I wake up without anxiety about being left. I trust my instincts now. I know the difference between someone who loves me and someone who loves the comfort I provide. If there's one thing I hope anyone listening understands, it's this. Being left during your weakest moment does not make you weak. It reveals strength you didn't know you had. Some people walk away when life gets hard because they were never meant to walk the whole journey with you. And that realization, as painful as it is, can save you years of trying to hold on to something that was never real. The calm reply I gave him that day wasn't planned. It wasn't clever. It wasn't revenge. It was instinct. I will remember this. And I did. I remembered who stayed. I remembered who left. And I remembered to choose myself after everyone else failed to. That memory didn't harden me. It freed me. And that is where my story truly ends.